Today on One, your daily dose of local affairs and social media commentary.
Today on One, NTTU wants credit for taxi fare hike, unemployment drive in Erongo region, Agra Bank to secure 200 million Namibia dollars for agriculture sector, and first batch of face masks donated to Commerce region.
The Namibia Transport and Taxi Union NTTU says it is behind the decision by the Transport Ministry increasing taxi and bus fares recently. According to the NTTU leader, they sent a letter requesting for an increment in 2018, and this is the outcome of their request. The NTTU President Werner January said that about 2 years ago he remembers sending a letter to key regulators in the transport industry and calling on them to increase taxi fares.
That was increased during the COVID-19 regulation must be made permanent. Yeah, because that is now backed up by my letter that was issued on the 6th of November 2018, giving actually government notice on the 7th of November that year 2018 that there was supposed to be an increment. But yes, we did not follow up that one because of various reasons. We became so busy and the board also changed so that we were waiting for a correct opportunity or right opportunity to address this issue with the new board. And now this increment that has been done during COVID-19 has given us a perfect opportunity to bring that letter to their attention, because that letter is still a valid and still a legal letter. Because of the law of record keeping, each document has a lifespan of a minimum of 5 years.
However, January's revelations are in contrast of the Ministry of Works and Transport, which stated in a statement that it's based its decision on the fact that operators are no longer allowed to fill buses and taxis to full capacity due to the COVID-19 state of emergency regulations.
After the COVID-19, I will be mobilizing my members and all taxi drivers and taxi owners to embark on non-stop or non-ending demonstrations, meaning demonstration after demonstration until our message went across. With that, I would like also to caution or to remind our passengers, because I'm getting complaints from my members that passengers do not want to pay this adjusted amount, that they must pay the adjusted amount, and I implore the minister to intervene in this matter before explosive situations start to erupt all over. Because I don't think the taxi drivers will take this excuse for much longer.
Not all taxi drivers are willing to charge the new taxi fare, as they do not want to put pressure on passengers' finances during the COVID-19 period.
Once a price has been effected, it is up to individual members whether they want to ask the required amount or want to ask lesser. That is up to them. But as a trade union, I already clarified that the law makes it very specific. Anytime there's fuel increment or any emergency such as this, the trade unions or any business person in the industry can apply for an increment. So those who don't want to go along with that increment, that is up to their business. But that cannot prevent others to comply with what unions have requested. As I said, my letter is a legal letter. It has a legal notice, and government has no choice but to fulfill my request, because as per law, anything 10% and below, it must be implemented.
Other players in the public sector, such as the Namibia Bus and Taxi Association and the Namibia Public Passenger Transport Association, welcome the increase, but NTTU wants the new rate to remain beyond the COVID-19 period.
It's not like it used to be. We all used to share Tafel Lager with our friends and family. Something has come and made those spirits so much harder to lift. But we have hope. We see the Namibian spirit in a nation working together from a distance to make a better country. We can't wait for this to pay off. And when it does, we'll be excited to bring the smooth taste of Namibia's finest to people who have truly earned it. Tafel Lager, made of Namibia.
Today on One recently visited Kwisebmu, located in the Erongo region, to investigate how some unemployed residents living in the coastal region are managing to survive during the COVID-19 state of emergency. The fishing industry is one of the largest economic sectors that significantly contributes to Namibia's gross domestic product. Today on One spoke to two fishermen who both lost their jobs in 2015 and have since struggled to make a sustainable income to fend for their families.
My wife is working, but her salary cannot maintain the whole family. My child was in school. Now he does not go anymore because we cannot afford it. We have an older one who used to go with taxi, but at times we cannot afford it anymore. So I used to wake up early in the morning to escort him to school. I am 7 years behind with paying for the house, and I've been living here about 13 years now. At least, the landlord allowed us to stay here without having to pay the rent. As it has been long and difficult for us now living without an income. We applied for the 750 and we didn't get it.
We are unemployed with my wife. We do not earn any income. I try my best to go to the north and harvest to bring my family food. I cannot afford to buy bread for all these kids. As you can see, I have a lot of kids and all of them go to school. I thank God that they are able to go to school because I cannot afford to feed them at all.
Student bodies such as the Namibia National Students Organization have raised concern over the introduction of e-learning, especially in public schools situated in vulnerable economic communities where access to electricity and information and communications technologies are a daily challenge. Today on One spoke to a young student who says that he struggles to cope with the new e-learning education system due to the financial situation faced by his parents.
Usually when my dad was working, I usually had enough food, shoes. Every time I used to get new shoes, but now when he lost his job, now he's at the field. Now I only got one school shoe pair in 1 year. So when he was working, I usually went with transport to school every day. Now sometimes I'm working because there's no money. It's only mom that's working, and she gets a really small amount. And yeah, I'd really like my dad to start working again so that I can go at school every time. So I'm not even concentrating nicely because when I usually go to school, I'm working, and then when I get to school, I'm already tired. So this e-learning is actually great, but the thing is I have a smartphone, but it's not regularly a proper smartphone. It's like from 2018 when my mom came out. It was my mom's first phone, so she gave it to me, but now it's not working nicely. I got a new battery in it, but it's also dying. So I really hope that the people on the field, at the field, can really get a job and work out for their families, buy food, put bread on the table, and so.
Out of a total of 543 employees who have been retrenched due to reasons related to COVID-19, the Erongo region has already reported a worrying figure of 131 employees who have been retrenched. The retrenchments were recorded mainly in the mining and quarrying sectors of the economy.
During these trying times with the Rona, ITSARAP advises all our viewers, please, to stay home and stay safe. Stay woke, Namibia.
Agra Bank has announced a relief and stimulus package for its clients that are affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. The bank says it has been given the go-ahead by the government to secure $200 million for the scheme. The Agra Bank of Namibia launched their stimulus and relief package this week in efforts to mitigate the impact of COVID-19 on farmers. The package will come into effect on the 1st of June 2020 and includes measures such as payment holidays and a reduction in interest rate.
The first one is that this package is based on two legs. The first leg is the relief measures, and the second leg is the stimulus loans. The loans, we will announce when that gets launched. The loans will follow the normal credit assessment process. And the stimulus measures, under that you've got a couple of measures. You've got the installment holiday for those who are impacted on a case-by-case basis by COVID-19. You've got interest rate adjustments that will apply to all our clients. And then you've got other measures or other relief measures that on meeting minimal conditions, you will then be able to get relief. And those talk to delisting, those talk to restructuring, and those talk to legal action.
Nikembwa further added that for those who qualify for the relief, the installment holiday will apply to all loans that a client might have with the bank, while normal loan repayments will resume after the installment holiday period.
It's one thing to provide relief, but it's another to try and stimulate production. Because what we want to do is to make sure that we increase production in agriculture, we increase the contribution of agriculture to the country's GDP, and we try and somehow mitigate the impact of COVID and, of course, the larger recession that we've been in. So we will be providing stimulus loans to help with achieving optimal production levels.
Application forms are available at all Agra Bank branches as well as online on the bank's website.
From Cape to Cairo, Accra to Antananarivo, there are millions of people just like you trying to make a living to make money. And there's no magic way to get rich quick, unless you're Aliko Dangote. You're not Aliko Dangote, are you? No? Well, perhaps we can help you get a little further along the way. With BBC reporters all over Africa, we find the stories, the successes, and the startups that will help you make the most of your money. This is Smart Money.
About a month ago, the Ministry of Industrialization, Trade and SME Development identified and tasked local SME manufacturing companies to produce face masks in the country. Recently, the ministry donated the first batch of face masks to the most vulnerable, identified through the Department of Poverty Eradication and Social Welfare within the Office of the President. The ministry recently donated more than 20,000 face masks to the governor of the Khomas region to be distributed to constituency councillors in the Khomas region.
We are here to hand over the masks that are earmarked for Khomas region, the vulnerable categories like were indicated, the pensioners, the disabled, and all other recipients of social grant income, because we consider them as vulnerable. And henceforth we have calculated, as we were given the statistics by the responsible officers, which is the Ministry of Gender and Poverty, which have then tasked us to ensure that we cover the statistics as given by them. We have manufactured and we are here today with a consignment of 28,182 masks that are targeting that specific category as the arrangement that we have communicated earlier on. We are again also listening and opening our ears to your plea and your request. We are saying at this point in time, we might not be in a position to extend to those categories like have been identified. However, what we can commit to is to look back into our consignment of materials to see if we are able to provide some more materials that maybe to your designated tailors for that purpose.
Receiving the face masks, Governor of the Commerce Region Laura McLeod Kachirwa requested for the beneficiaries to be educated upon receiving the donation.
Then what I was also requesting is that during the handing over of the mask to our beneficiaries, now in this case being the pensioners, that a bit of education exercise must take place in order for them to be told how to be used. Equally, since they are material, we should also advise them that at least they must be able to wash them daily to be ready for the next morning. If the ministry resources may allow, we are also having another category of the vulnerable and disadvantaged Namibians who are unable to source or even have income to buy for themselves the mask. If there can be any space in your budget for you as well to provide for that group, we will be very happy.
The Department of Industrial Development in the ministry will ensure that all 14 regions across the country will benefit from the face masks that are currently being produced locally.
Welcome to Sport Africa.
The BBC's new weekly show will explore the big sporting issues and questions, like why Africans aren't winning medals in the pool.
I just think it's their mindset.
Meeting established and rising stars.
I could be the Nigerian first Grand Slam winner.
And at the heart of it will be you, the fans, with your passion, your opinions, your stories, and even tests of your sporting knowledge. Go beyond the game with BBC Sport Africa.
In other leading stories, the F&B rental index for the first quarter of 2020 shows that overall residential rent prices rebounded from a 2-year negative growth territory. Frans Usiku, F&B Market Research Manager, explains that the COVID-19 lockdown is bound to paint a different picture when looking at quarter 2 of 2020. According to Usiku, although we've reached a 12-month average growth of 0.0% at the end of March, bringing the national monthly average rent price to 7,465 Namibia dollars, the pandemic has disrupted business activity, resulting in job losses and reduced income for the most part of the labor force, noting that this is bound to have a devastating effect on tenants and landlords' cash flow going forward. Usiku noted that they expected the rental market to hit a growth plateau in the second quarter before it reverts back to negative growth territory. He further added that when looking at the first quarter of 2020, the F&B rental index states that the listed rental units were largely concentrated in the 1-bedroom and 2-bedroom segments, accounting for 43% and 32% of the overall listings respectively. Usiku adds that these rental units were only recorded in Windhoek, where the rural-urban migration is relatively high compared to other towns.
Welcome to Comments Corner, your daily dose of comments from the hottest social media pages. Social media went abuzz over the weekend when prominent figures Josie Joss, Sunny Boy and Top Cherry were arrested for allegedly violating the state of emergency regulations at the popular night spot Funky Lab in Windhoek, a few meters away from the Namibian Police Force headquarters. The musicians were at the venue to participate in Sunny Boy's long-awaited live concert. Astrida said 2,000 is too much, but what about the poor who got charged with the same amount? Herbert said the law applies to all and all industries are suffering. Wax said, when will people start following the rules without waiting for law enforcement officers to intervene? Eliakim said the fact that the artist did not admit to even one single mistake shows that he is dishonest. Charlene wants to know where the 2,000 fine money goes. Tobias said Josie Jones should not play the victim. Johannes thinks the artist copied the Swapo Party birthday celebrations since nothing happened to them. And that is all from Comments Corner. Be sure to post your comments on our social media pages for broadcast every day only on Today on One.
Let's talk about the coronavirus outbreak here in Africa. How do you get people to regularly wash their hands when water is scarce? How do you get people to work from home when majority of Africans work in the informal sector?
People are dying and suffering.
More importantly, how do you get a vibrant and dynamic continent to stop in its tracks? Welcome to The Breakdown, BBC Africa's COVID-19 special program, helping you make sense of the crisis.
Accommodation is the ability of the eye to focus on distant and near objects.
And I bring it in contact with the electroscope. What you must keep in mind is positive charge can't move. It is the negative charge that moves.
So the first one, EF, is then going to be 0 minus negative 2 over 4 minus negative 4. Look at my signs. If you go wrong there, if you don't substitute in brackets, you're definitely going to get wrong answers.
A look at the weather forecast: the Namibia interior partly cloudy and warm to hot in the northeast, elsewhere sunny and warm to hot. The coast partly cloudy and mild to warm with fog patches in the south, and the wind light to moderate southwesterly. Now a look at minimum and maximum temperatures across the country and beyond.
Yesu Muna wajambi Ombungu hiro Jeya okuyama Oh yeah bui No bindu yo yeah Onjapuke Jia pupa kungogota Yesu Barayo yere Watoro donjo No maugi wanje Komapando genji handere no uyama 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 Yesu uyama Yesu muna wanjambi Ombungu hiro Jeya okuyama Oh yeah Bui No bindu yo yeah Oh japuke Jeya pupa kukokota Yesu Parayo yere Watu No mauvi wanje Nejikutura Komapano genji handere No bindu Yoye onjabuke Uyama 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 Yesu Uyama 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 Yesu Uyama 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 Yesu Uyama Uyama Yesu Uyama Uyama
BBC World News, the biggest African and international news stories. Focus on Africa.